Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're down at Carolina Auto Direct. We're going to take a look at the latest generation for the Mercedes Benz AMG GLC 43. So huge shout out to them for providing this SUV for me today. Make sure you guys check out their website, that's down in the description below. They have a ton of awesome, pretty much brand new inventory to choose from, so definitely check them out. But the AMG that you see behind me is finished off in black, and it has a list price right around $78,000. To start off today's review, we're going to take a look at what powers this GLC. Underneath the hood, you'll find the 3-liter twin-turbo V6 engine. This is paired to the 9-speed AMG speed shift transmission, and it pumps out 385 horsepower around 6,100 RPM and 384 pound-feet of torque around 2,500 RPM. This has the 4Matic all-wheel drive system. It weighs in right around 4,100 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, up to its top speed of 155 miles an hour. And it has a fuel capacity of 17.4 gallons. You'll expect to see around 18 miles per gallon in the city and 24 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 113.1 inches. Its overall length is 183.5. It has a width of 74.4 and a height of 64 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this AMG GLC, let's start off front and center with the massive Mercedes Benz logo you can see in the grille. This is also the forward-facing sensor, so it's nicely incorporated into the logo itself. Even though it is a bit oversized, it still looks very nice for this front end. You can see the rest of the grille matches nicely with the finish. Plenty of cutouts too to provide maximum cooling to this twin-turbo engine. This also has a forward-facing camera nicely integrated just underneath that badge, along with all the parking sensors that you can see incorporated throughout it. For these LED headlights, you can see they have a really nice design. This has LED DRLs and turn signals as well. And the DRL and turn signal are actually split on both sections of the headlight housing. So we have the triple beam design right in the middle, and then the turn signal and DRL running on the outside. Just gives it a really clean look for that housing. You can see there's even more cutouts down in the lower section. There's even functional air inlets, and they are pretty large. You can see right through that bumper there just to provide even better airflow, along with all the cutouts down below to provide cooling to the front engine components. And then the hood has some really nice lines coming down just to give it a really nice clean design running all the way back to the grille. As we move on to the side now, this has a set of 20-inch wheels. They're 9 inches wide. You can see the multi-spoke design along with the two-tone finish. This even has the AMG brakes. You can see those are finished off in a gray color. We have the body-colored mirrors with the integrated turn signal and a camera system. I will show that system later on in today's video. This also has the sunroof up top along with the blacked out roof rails. You can see all of the window trim is blacked out as well. The bi-turbo badge is up front. Really nice addition to the fender flares too. All of that trim work matches nicely. Really nice lines running just underneath the height of the door handle. And then as we finish up in the rear, you can see the body colored spoiler along with the integrated third brake light. Wiper blade is in the lower section, gives you plenty of visibility out of that glass. This also has a backup camera that's nicely hidden away when it's not used. And when you put the vehicle into reverse, of course, that will pop up. You can see all the parking sensors that are located down below. This has LED taillights, really nice design to those housings. In the lower section, you can see the diffusers, just to give it more of that sporty appearance, especially being the AMG model, with the quad-tip dual exhaust on both sides. We'll start this up in just a little bit so you can hear that. So with the exterior wrapped up, let's move on to the cargo area. So you can use the electronic button on the liftgate itself, or just push this button on the key fob. It will automatically open up, and you'll see there is a ton of space. We have this cover here so you can hide any items. Over on this driver's side, you can see a net along with a little bit of cargo space. It goes outwards just slightly over on this passenger side. So plenty of room, really nice flat surface. This even has a lockable compartment in the floor. So if I open this up, look at this addition for storage space. You can place pretty much anything down here you want. There's a cargo rack right there that you can set up just as a divider so nothing slides around. Really cool to see that that's lockable. And then you can also fold down these back seats using these buttons on the left and the right side. All I need to do is pull on this. You can see that fold down. On the driver's side, I can pull that one down, and now we have a really nice flat surface. You can put in a lot more items if you need to. Also over on this side, you can actually raise and lower the back of this vehicle. So if you want that load height to go down when you have a lot of items, you can push on that button, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the vehicle lowering right now, but it makes it much easier for that load height so you can put in items. And then with the power lift gate up top, you can close and lock the vehicle. The one on the left side will just close it. And we can move on to these back seats now. And you'll notice too, you can lock and unlock the vehicle from the back doors. You'll see those power mirrors fold out, so it's really convenient to be able to do that. On this model here, you can see all the black leather and the red stitching, along with the brushed aluminum. This model has the upgraded Burmester audio sound system. You can see the window control, along with the grab handle. Good amount of storage space down in that lower section too. And at 5'10", it's time to work my way into these back seats, where you'll see we have a combination of black leather and suede, along with the red seat belts to match all of the red stitching. Definitely really nice to see. The door sill is very low, so it makes it easy to enter and exit. We have that grab handle nicely placed. You can see behind both front seats, there's a storage pocket here, so you can place any items that you'd like to. With the front seat set at my height, I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs, and I have around 3 or 4 inches above my head, so it's a very spacious back seat. These also have a 40-20-40 split to them, so you can fold down this middle seat if you'd like to. Before we do that, we'll take a look at the storage that you get in this armrest, and then there is a cup holder on both sides if you'd like to use those. And then just by grabbing this handle on the right side of the headrest, you can fold this seat down so that way you can see into the back if you have any longer items that need to pass through. And then from this angle, you can see with these back seats down just how much more storage there is to make this a much more practical daily SUV to drive. You'll see right in the middle, we have 2 air vents along with the control for that. And in the lower section, you can flip this out to where you'll see a 2-prong outlet along with a 12 volt. So that way your backseat passengers can charge their electronics if they need to. Really nice to see that. And then as we work our way to the front seats, you'll see the door panels finished off just like the rear one. We have the addition of all the memory seating adjustments, all the controls for the seat, along with the heated seat option. You can see lock and unlock, all of the side mirror adjustments and window controls. Really nice to see all that finished off in brushed aluminum. There's even a release for the lift gate, and you can see all the additional storage space down in the lower section. AMG is also down on the door sill, and this does illuminate. It's gonna be very hard to see during the daytime, but that's a really nice touch. And then as we move on to these front bucket seats, you can see all the bolstering support, the red seat belts. Definitely gives it a great look. You can even adjust the front section of the seat just by using that control on the door panel. You can see me adjust that forwards and backwards just to give you a little bit more comfort. And just like the back seat, very easy to enter the front seats here. It is a pretty low car for an SUV, so it makes it very easy to enter and exit. And then moving on to the steering wheel, you can see the perforated and solid black leather. We have that red stripe right in the middle, more red stitching, flat bottom design with the AMG badge, and even more brushed aluminum. Very fancy steering wheel for this sporty SUV. But let's fire this up. With my foot on the brake, we have that button over on the right side, and we can bring this to life. And looking at this gauge cluster, you'll see over on the left side is the fuel gauge and the miles per hour. On the right side is the tach and the engine temperature. And then right in the middle, you do have this LCD screen that shows you a lot of information. You can see the temperature and the time along with what gear you're in. And then in the lower section, you can go through a lot more information using these 3 buttons over on the left side of the steering wheel. This also has the cruise control settings. But with these 3 buttons, we have home, we have back, and then you can swipe on this dial right in the middle up and down to go through all of that information. So right now I'm gonna push on the home button where you can see the AMG performance. If I click on that center button, now you can look at your G-force meter. I can swipe up. You can look at all of the different settings the vehicle is currently in. You can also look at your boost along with some other vitals. And then if I go back, you can swipe over, look at your driver assistance. You can go into servicing. If I go in the other direction, you can go into the trip information, pull up the navigation. You can look at radio and media, and then your phone as well if you have that paired. So it's nice to have all that information front and center. And then over on the right side of the steering wheel, we have these same 3 buttons. These will control the center screen. We'll come back to that here shortly. We have volume for the radio, all of the Bluetooth and voice commands. And this also has these steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. You can see those are finished off in brushed aluminum just to match in nicely. Over on this left side, the electronic parking brake is located down below. If you can see that blue reflection, that is because this has the interior ambient lighting. Very nice to see that. We have the headlight controls along with a dimmer switch. You can see 1 air vent there. And then coming back to that center screen, this is a touchscreen system, so you can use that if needed, and just swiping on this to go through all this information. Or you can use those dials again over on the steering wheel here. I'm gonna be using those for right now. You can go through a lot more information, go into that ambient lighting. You have some of the same ones that you saw in the center screen there, but it's nice that you have all this front and center. If I go into the AMG performance, now you can go through your vehicle, you can look at your accelerating, your braking, you can go into the engine, look at all of this performance, you have your consumption and the dynamic select, so you can go and configure a lot of information. You can even see shortcuts to the climate controls there, so you can go through all of that information, of course, where you like the air and all of that. We can go back to this screen, go through a lot more settings, so it's nice that you have all of that easily available. You can go through towing if you need it, turning on your parking sensors. You have all this information here readily available for you. You'll notice 3 air vents just underneath that, along with this wood trim backing. It covers all of these controls right in the middle, so that is really nice to see. We have more physical buttons for the climate controls, so you can easily get to all of that information if you're not already on that screen. We have the fan speed, temperature, where you'd like the air to go, all of those dials nicely laid out. And there's a bunch of shortcuts down below, so if you quickly want to get to your radio and media, you can push on that. We also have a car button here, going back to all of those different settings. There's a favorites button that you can push as well. Hazards are over on that right side. And then working our way to this compartment here, if I open this up, you'll see that this has a keypad down below, along with a 12 volt, a little bit of storage space right here. You could place your phone or other smaller items. And then behind that, we do have a third way to use this screen. So it has a back button, the home button, same controls that you saw on the steering wheel. So if I push on home, now we have this trackpad here. I can swipe my finger to go through all this information. If I scroll down now, you can go to all these different themes that you can set up. You have favorites as well. If I go all the way back up, now we are here. So again, really convenient, a lot of different options. There's also a dynamic button here. So if I push on that, you can go between slippery, individual, comfort, sport, and sport plus. You'll see the diagram there change along with the exhaust note too. We also have the M button, so that allows you to use the paddle shifters. There's a few different settings for the suspension. You can see comfort along with sport and sport plus. We have traction control, volume and power for the radio, the engine start stop feature. And then this last button here is for the parallel parking. So you can see it's telling me to look for a parking space right now. So that can aid you in doing that. This also has a full 3D camera system. So right now we're looking at the forward-facing camera. We have a little bit different of a view. Now we have the surround view, and then there's 2 angles for the rear-facing camera. So it's really nice to see that. In order to put this vehicle into reverse, you'll notice that there's nothing in the center here. It is a column-mounted shifter. So if I push it all the way up, that is for reverse. We can go down into drive, and then pushing the end of the stalk is for park. So it's nice how it's kind of out of the way there. Gives it more of a cleaner look right in the middle. The center armrest also has a ton of space along with USBs, so you can charge electronics, place any information in there that you'd like to. And then over on the glove box, you'll see it has an ample amount of room for all of that info. We'll take one last look at this interior. Very nice spec with all of the red. Like I mentioned earlier, this does have the moonroof. It is split between your front seat and your rear seat passengers. The adjustments for that and the sunroof are up top. You can see we have the dome lights along with a sunglass holder, and some call buttons are up there as well. So now getting this Mercedes Benz AMG GLC 43 out on the road. This has been a really cool sporty size, smaller size SUV from Mercedes Benz, and I think it has a lot to offer for the footprint of this vehicle. It's actually very spacious on the interior. The fact that you can fold the back seats down too just makes it a little bit more versatile, and this can even tow around 3,500 pounds. That's not a lot, but it's very, very adequate for the size and the power plant for this AMG model. So it's nice that if you need the practicality of an SUV, you need to tow smaller trailers, and you want that practicality to put people in the back, have a lot of storage and that rear cargo, but you also want sports car-like performance, this is a great model. We're gonna put it into the manual setting now, pop it into Sport Plus. And I love the fact that we have pops in that exhaust. It puts a smile on your face for sure. I wouldn't say it's crazy fast. It does have a quick 0 to 60 time, which I won't be testing today, but it has plenty of power to get up and move. And the exhaust isn't crazy loud, so under just cruising right now at a normal speed, you can't hear it, it disappears. There's not a lot of road noise, wind noise either, and it handles very well in Sport Plus. When you put it back into comfort mode, you can feel the steering get a little bit looser, so it's nice to see that the different settings are actually functional. And here we go from second. I'm sure you guys can hear the small pops in that exhaust. It definitely sounds good. But as far as just driving this, I love this interior. As you've already seen in today's video, all of the materials are super nice. I love this screen too. It has a lot of different settings. If you go into engine, you can look at live readouts for your horsepower, your torque, and some other vitals. So with the camera behind me, you'll be able to see those, which is pretty cool. But everything is very nice. All of the leather, we have these seats with these inserts. It's a really nice top-notch interior, and obviously that's what you'd expect from Mercedes-Benz, especially with their AMG lineup. And so now as we switch over to the POV angle, you can see what it's like to be behind the wheel of this Mercedes-Benz. The screen is a really nice size. I like it positioned over these 3 air vents, and it's nice that it has almost a floating design to it. So that gives it a cool look. We have the brushed aluminum trim that goes all the way over, but definitely a nice place to be. Everything is laid out very nicely, and these paddles are super responsive. I love that crisp pop in between the upshifts. Definitely adds some excitement to this vehicle. If you want to tone it down, we can go back into comfort mode here. We also have these suspension settings. We have Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, just depending on how you want to drive this. This is an SUV, but it can still take some corners, almost like a sports car. It is a little bit heavier, obviously being an SUV, but it is small, it's nimble. Even in comfort mode, it can take a normal turn like that very nicely. So definitely the place to be if you want to drive this every single day. You want those sporty characteristics. And then we'll take a quick look at visibility from this angle. So you can see over this shoulder here, and then over the left shoulder. Definitely easy to see all around. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this walk around review and test drive, getting behind the wheel of this Mercedes Benz AMG GLC 43. Once again, huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this vehicle for me. Make sure you guys check out their website. That's down in the description below. And give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I'll see you all in the next video.